Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang on 1 second. Did that... Okay. I'm sorry. I have to. They've added Nova. And Nova? Oh, yes. 2013. The frame created by the Design Council. All the way over there. Not what I wanted to press. Nova. I'm interested to see what they say her story is. So this is just the card, obviously. Donate. How much do I have? So it's not going to tell me. I'll give it about that much.
Sure. My sincerest.
Oh, hang on. It says the same thing every time. So, first one.
Nova. Mercurial. Unpredictable. And a miraculous example of harnessed antimatter. It would be a bold fool indeed who tried to tame lightning. One such individual was Wholesome Yerr, a freelance problem solver who commanded high fees for his low morals. A deficiency that netted him great success in endeavors where a conscience would have held others back. He is the only figure known to have secured a back-channel charter permitting him to selectively raid certain rails, so long as Orokin ships were avoided. The story of Nova and Yerr survives via the captain and security logs of the Orokin vessel Mascus Theodolite. It survives because it was deemed to be of historical importance. Orokin investigators scrutinized every frame of security footage, each line of the captain's log, for assurance that the outcome of this encounter was indeed true.
Hang on. Nova's a pirate. Is that what they're basically saying there? Ah, so this has come with her deluxe skin. I see. This is just her new sandana that you have to pay platinum to buy.
The passenger vessel Mascus Theodolite reported critical problems with her engines. Nova, mistress of antimatter, was deployed to relight the Theodolite's antimatter reactor before the vessel was drawn into the gravity well of a nearby planetoid. 10,800 passengers were at risk. Clipping this Hyandana to herself, she exited her lander. The interior of the ship was deathly quiet. But then, chaos. Behind her, the section of the ship securing her lander was detonated and blown free, stranding her for the time being. From deeper inside the ship, cries for help.
Yeah, I put the controller down and I brought that up. You could tell at the time I wasn't actually using it. But, okay, now she's an abandoned Nova. And I'm guessing this is some form of armor. Usually is. Year's armor.
Nova sped toward the shouts of trapped crewmen. 8 were locked in flow control behind a hardened glass wall. Opening a wormhole between herself and them, she phased the crewmen to safety as their compartment flooded with lethal gas. Booming from speakers in every hallway, Wholesome Yerr declared himself. Wholesome Yerr, the man who at one time had run the Pluto Resistance, who spent 3 years terrorizing the rails between Jupiter and Venus just to prove that he could, who took that notoriety and translated it into a career. Security, political assassination, courier runs, torture, graft, blackmail, and in one case, so it was said, genocide. There were graves already dug for him by the many who wanted him dead. Word was, Wholesome already had a tomb prepared for himself on some distant moon, with a table piled high with riches and a chair just waiting for him to be sat in for eternity. A man capable of anything, and a man who would rather die than lose. A man easily recognized by the signature item before you. It was, so they say, an item of great personal significance to the old rogue. Why, and what history it shared with him, is a matter of some speculation.
So here's a bad guy who is just a really bad guy. Nova's head. Actually, the flux helmet. Wow. Too many to go. Way too many. Nova's flux helmet. Alternate helmet for Nova. Not any Prime related stuff.
Unaware she was being led into a trap built just for her, I don't imagine Nova took any special precautions. This flux model helm, for example, was fairly standard. The appealing venting displayed her antimatter nature, an announcement of power as much as an evocation of beauty. Where were we? Oh, aye, yes. Nova and the rescued crew moved for the escape pods. Once they were clear, she would about face and find some way to free the remaining 10,792. Alas, thuds and clangs resounded as every life pod ejected into space. Empty. Yerr clarified, boomingly, that escape was not an option. To punctuate this assertion, bulkheads slammed down in every corridor ship-wide. The only path Yerr left open, worryingly, was the one that led directly to the theodolite's antimatter reactor, the very thing Nova had come to save. What was the old pirate playing at?
So, Yerr was the pirate, not Nova. Nova is the next victim. Nova is who he's here to get. And one thing there. Hidden, the walls are just hiding them so you can't see them from further back. Good, I was starting to think that maybe there was 4 things left. Sometimes these are a bit too big. The haiku came out way after Nova did. Just for the record.
Yerr answered Nova's unspoken question. He had jettisoned the antimatter core. Without that, it was impossible for the reactor to function, and the theodolite would smash into the planetoid in a matter of minutes. Yerr had been paid, by persons unknown, to neutralize Nova completely. Yerr, a man who prided himself upon an ignorance of the impossible, had agreed and devised this trap. Nova was a being created to contain and harness antimatter. The antimatter drive no longer had a fuel core. His proposition was simple. Nova would enter the reactor chamber, crack her own containment, and kickstart a new reaction using her own body as fuel. She could save 10,800 lives, but only at the cost of her own. She had minutes to decide. With a flick of her wrist, Nova's haiku, throwing stars, took out every camera in eyeshot, killing Yerr's surveillance of them. This done, she turned to the technicians she had just saved. She would need their help.
Sorry, but as soon as that started and they said he'd launched the flux core out of the ship, it made a lot of sense what was going to happen, considering, you know, Nova, queen of the antimatter. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen. She could always just cast her second ability or 4th ability. Yeah. Too obvious.
Nova walked to her doom. As she entered the reactor's chamber, Yerr smugly assured her she was doing the right thing. Within the reactor's observation room, the technicians nodded assent. This was going to be close. From the bridge, Yerr sealed the reactor chamber's blast doors. Seconds later, on Nova's signal, the technicians overrode that command. The doors shot upwards, and Nova wormholed out of the chamber and back into the corridor. Leaving that portal open, she created another, straight up into the vent system. On the bridge, Yerr had little time to react, but react he did, ordering all prisoners to be killed. In that moment, a portal flashed into existence, Nova launching herself amidst pirate, captain and crew, and showed them what she was made of. In a blinding flash, Yerr and every mercenary on that bridge was deeply infused with Nova's antimatter, starting a chain reaction within them. Yerr realized what was happening, but too late. With a few precise shots from her Syra-customized sniper rifle, Nova neutralized those mercenaries who were quicker off the mark before grabbing Yerr by his brightly irradiated hair. Hurling him back through her network of wormholes, Nova sent wholesome Yerr pinging from portal to portal before tumbling out into the reactor chamber. The wormholes collapsed.
Come on. This is too obvious. Way too obvious what is going to happen here. What is Nova going to do with this now antimatter covered enemy that she has locked in the chamber instead of herself? I wonder.
Yerr struggled to his feet as every molecule in his body approached critical. Behind the glass, the technicians gave him a final, grim salute before slamming the blast door closed. Wholesome Yerr, pirate and legend, went Nova. The reactor caught the reaction. The technicians harnessed it, and the engines of the Masker's theodolite roared to life. It was indeed the boldest of fools who attempted to leash lightning. And so, a notorious rogue said to be unkillable met his end in the attempt, as the historical record now demonstrates.
What can I say other than called it? Yeah, that was too obvious. It became very clear what was going to happen here as soon as they mentioned antimatter core. As soon as they said the antimatter core had been shot out into space, it was, well, obviously Nova didn't die. Nope. Oh, I can't get up there now. Yes, I can. Hi Nova, are you dead? No? You're still standing here? I have two of you in my arsenal? Okay. I didn't think you were dead. Therefore, you had to die. That was way too obvious, to be honest. But, had to do this. It's Nova. Nova was the first frame I threw so many Former into in the first ever Affinity weekend that I ran out of Former several times and we just sat on, I think it was Xeni when Xeni was still Xeni, and we just farmed for pretty much the entire day. Just farming and farming and farming and farming, and oh, how we didn't know then what we know now. And I don't just mean we as in me, I mean we as in one of the people that was in those missions for a large chunk of it, I still actually play Warframe with. I think the one other was a random, just came and went as the please, just any random, and the other one, I know for a fact he still plays it, but I don't know if he still plays on PC, is the best way I can put this. Actually, I know for a fact they still play on PC, just not as often as they used to. Most people from way back then don't play as often as we did then. But anyway, that's about it, so we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.